Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. If there is one thing that Donald Trump and the Democratic Party, Democratic candidates can agree on, it's that the midterms, this upcoming election, should be a referendum on one question. Do you like Donald Trump? Do you think Donald Trump's doing a good job? For Democrats, the logic here is pretty obvious and straightforward. I mean, the guy is among the least popular presidents in modern history. His approval rating is hovering around 34% and trending downward, improbably. His favorabilities on everything from cost of living to immigration are all underwater. So it makes perfect sense why Democrats would want voters to think about Donald Trump when they go into the ballot box. It is less obvious why making the midterms about Donald Trump would be beneficial for Republicans. Except, of course, the obvious fact, the president is an egomaniac who demands that everything be about him.
The problem that we have is they say that Trump does great when he's on the ballot, but when he's not on the ballot, his people don't come and they don't vote for senators, congressmen, and other Republicans. And that these people, they're running, they're great, but if Trump isn't actually on the ballot. So what I really want you to do is pretend, please, that I'm on the ballot. Just come and vote. It's so important.
Okay. So he wanted that to his base, but I hope the voters of Michigan, for instance, understand that that's what it is. It's not Mike Rogers on the ballot. I mean, truly, it's not. It's Donald Trump on the ballot. He's on the ballot in every state, in Alaska, in Maine, in Texas. And if that was not enough to keep the president front of mind, well, he's also holding an unprecedented, newfangled contraption he's built, a midterm party convention in Texas next month, promising it will be, quote, the greatest rally of them all caps, of course. Now, this maybe isn't the worst idea in the world. There's some logic here, right? Texas is a very red state. Trump has carried it 3 times. It's a place where a bunch of Democrats are polling competitively in key races. We're going to have more on that later in the show. And so you can see an argument. A convention like that could be an excuse to help fundraise and bring some attention to vulnerable Republicans there. Obviously, that's not what's going to happen. No, Trump's just going to make it all about himself. Quote, I will be with you both nights and raring to go. See you in Dallas, President Donald J. Trump. Yes, you guessed it. Trump is speaking both nights of the convention because why not? He's going to tie himself at the hip to every single candidate who appears. There will be absolutely no way to avoid him. As one anonymous Republican strategist told Puck, quote, nobody understands why we're doing a midterm convention. It's just another show that Trump is going to put on to remind the voters that he is sitting there, and maybe they don't want to be reminded of that. Here's the best part. I really couldn't believe this when I read this detail. Trump is expecting Republicans to pay for the privilege. No, seriously, get this. Puck spoke to 3 people who reviewed the invitations, who say that the National Republican Congressional Committee is telling House candidates, they need to cough up $25,000 to get an invite to the greatest rally of them all. And that's just for the cheap seats. The so-called higher tier package is going to run candidates $100,000. Again, the candidates, the people that are at the front lines in this. Where, you ask, is that money going? Who knows? But it won't be in the coffers of these candidates anymore. And you better believe there will be corporate sponsors as well. Oh, boy. In fact, as one other anonymous Republican strategist told Puck, that might actually be the whole ballgame. Quote, it's yet another opportunity to shake down corporate America. Now, if there's a silver lining here for Republicans, it is that no one is likely to actually watch this thing. I mean, networks have struggled to get viewers to tune into the real conventions during presidential years. It's all that much harder to get them to pay attention for the midterms. Here's the other thing. The timing here is bizarre. Donald Trump and the Republican Party will be counter-programming the opening 2 nights of the regular NFL season. They're starting on a Wednesday this year for some weird reason. So he thinks he can compete with football. What's more, the convention is also being held in the 2 days leading up to the 25th anniversary of the September 11th attacks, which is, sort of a strange time to be throwing a big party. Of course, all this does make a perverse kind of sense when you remember, this is our theme here, Trump's not interested in winning elections, right? Like persuading people he's doing a good job. No, he would much rather steal them, right? Whether that's through his executive order power grab on mail-in votes or an attempted coup or some kind of bogus national emergency for elections or God knows what else, or maybe all those things plus more. Rest assured, He's been very clear on this, very consistent. Got to give him that. He's going to try, right? They're going to try everything they can do. At least one Trump-aligned candidate is already trying to do it. You know him and you love him. He's the Republican who lost in the gubernatorial primary in Minnesota earlier this month, who is still refusing to concede. And of course, that candidate is our old buddy, Mike Pilla.
So y'all want an update, everybody?
Yes, looking forward to it, Mike.
Okay, everybody, we go from election night, August 11th. Everyone knows we spent the next 7 days figuring out why there was this algorithm, why votes went in reverse, why people got votes in counties of the 7 candidates that didn't get any votes there. It was crazy things that couldn't be done with anything except for computers, period. So we filed with the Secretary of State to do a legal. This is Minnesota law. Paper ballots hand counted the whole election. By the way, everyone, if you go to LindellPlan.com, the Lindell Offense Fund, everyone that's been behind this for years now everybody's pouring in money so we can attack this head on.
I mean, the guy sounds like a raving lunatic. Let's just call it what it is, right? And also, I got to say, he doesn't quite have the juice. In no small part because no one actually believes that shadowy figures rigged a Republican primary in Minnesota, where the winning candidate is quite likely to get clobbered by Amy Klobuchar in the ballpark of double digits come November. But then again, and this is important, I don't think any serious Republican actually thinks 2020 was stolen either. I don't even think members of the base do, to be honest. I think they just pretend to. It's a kind of vice signaling, either to please the boss or Trump or to show you're sort of part of his tribe. This is actually a serious threat, though. And it becomes all the more serious when stakes are much higher in November. Like, yes, Lindell is ridiculous, but imagine a world where, just for the sake of argument, Democratic Senate candidate James Tallarico wins Texas by 10,000 votes in the fall. A scenario, by the way, that seems perfectly plausible based on the current state of the race and the polling we have. You think Republicans are just going to throw up their hands and accept defeat and call and concede? Or will they fight tooth and nail and use any means at their disposal to overturn the results of a free and fair election, like they did, quite famously, 6 years ago? Because a party that does not try to win elections is a party that thinks it can steal them.